Ralph Weeks' toady never finished either job, and in Mrs. Lemon's case, she never received the right carpeting. Well, after airing that story, we heard from numerous people who had also hired Ralph Toady to do carpeting at one time or another. And again, in each case, Toady had taken a down payment and never finished the carpeting.
He said, the point is, you don't even plan to lay our carpet, do you? Finish it. And he said, I don't know if I will or not. And anyway, they got talking about well, I said, well, I'll tell you what somebody ought to do. My husband said, what someone ought to do to you is just beat your head in. You know, you get by with that stuff all the time. So he said, well, I'm smarter than you are. He said, I got your $1,500, didn't I?
7 of the callers had taken Toady to small claims court, and either he didn't show up, or he claimed bankruptcy, or he made a settlement that he allegedly did not live up to. I contacted the district attorney's office. They were quite familiar with Ralph Toady's name and complaints against him. They are studying the case now to see if there is a way to clear up the matter. Former police officer Darrell Townley of Ponca City wrote a letter to In Your Corner. He had seen our recent report on a car accident, a hit-and-run car accident that occurred on a public parking lot which was privately owned. Jana West, as you may recall, had parked her car in a parking lot under the Skirvin Hotel where she works. As she left for the day, she witnessed a car hit her Corvette and run. When she called police, she was told they couldn't investigate because the accident occurred on a privately owned parking lot, even though it was open to the public. But former policeman Darrell Townley wrote and said state law required police to investigate accidents even on private property. I asked the Department of Public Safety to verify that, and Information Officer Bob Carlton agreed.
The state law does read that any time a police officer who in the normal course of his responsibilities does investigate accidents, any time that he is called to the scene of an accident, regardless of whether it's private property or on a city street or a state highway, any time that he is called to the scene of that accident and the following conditions are there. One, personal injury, fatality, or damage or apparently damage of at least $300. If one of these three ingredients is within the accident, then it is the responsibility of that police officer to submit the accident report.
Armed with that information, I went back to the Oklahoma City Police Department and asked them about the state law. Spokesman Tom Monday said city ordinance did not allow for investigation of accidents on private property, but he had the law looked up anyway. The police found an amendment to the state law regarding handicapped parking spaces. It left it up to the cities of Oklahoma whether or not to enforce handicapped parking space laws and whether to investigate accidents on private property. Oklahoma City does enforce the handicapped parking space laws even on private property, but does not investigate accidents on private property while the Highway Patrol does. And Monday says in the future, Oklahoma City Police will have to be even more selective about accidents they investigate, even those on public streets, because of other priorities demanding police attention. In Your Corner was also able to help David Dumafam of Choctaw, who bought a ceiling fan from the Sight and Sound store in Midwest City. The fan switch went out while it was still under warranty, but no parts were available for repair. Sight and Sound ordered him another one, but after 3 months, it still hadn't arrived. We called the store manager, who said he would be refunding Mr. Dumafam's money, even if he had to take the loss himself. Now, if you have a problem, write In Your Corner, KTVY-TV, Box 14068, Oklahoma City, 73113, or give us a call at 478-2291. I'm Brad Edwards, In Your Corner. Anna Penn is 83 years young, widowed, and making it on her own. She's a retired nurse still working as a babysitter these days. Her problem is she bought a pair of shoes from Phil's Bus and Shop 2 years ago. They didn't fit, so she took them back and asked for a refund.
Well,
when I took them back, he wouldn't give my money back, but he says, I'll see that you get some shoes. And he had me coming in. Every time I'd go, he'd say he'd have them in. Well, he tried some on me. I tried some on, and they were too large. And I told him that I would take a pair that I liked real well if they had fit. He said they were too large, but he would order them. And he kept telling me in 10 days, and it's been almost 2 years and a half. I haven't got any shoes yet.
Did you get mad about it?
No, I didn't until the last time I was in there.
What happened then?
Well, I went in and asked him again and asked for my money back. He said, too long, can't give you money. I said, it sure has been too long. And I said, I've been waiting for shoes almost 2.5 years. He says, well, I'll get some in. You'll get your shoes. I said, I don't want your damn shoes. I want my money.
Well, I called Phil, the shop owner, and asked him if this couldn't be worked out. He thought it could. So we drove Anna uptown to see if the feud couldn't be ended. Fortunately, Anna had saved her receipt from 2 years ago in hopes of getting a refund. Phil said Anna had been rather stormy the last time she came in, asking about the shoes. If she was nice this time, he said he would give her the rest of her money back.
Huh?
$16?
16, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
You all right now?
Just fine, thank you.
You're not going to swear at me, huh?
I never said anything but damn, and I meant it.
Okay.
Well, the feud was over quickly, and Anna has a little extra money now to spend over the holidays. But she says she'll spend it on a new pair of shoes if she can find the right size this time. I'm Brad Edwards, in your corner. This problem involves the manufacturing of something invented right here in Oklahoma City, the grocery cart. The 7 ladies who called me said they were fired because they were not able to lift the heavier gates in the grocery carts. They claimed that normally their foreman brought a man in to help them lift and pack the larger gates. They said that stopped one night. I visited with the 7 ladies who contacted me. They said the problem came when they were ready to pack the heavier grocery cart gates called the 109s one night. The ladies said they had always been helped with them before.
John has always put a man back there, and not just John. Ever since I've been working in 800 or in that plan for the past 2 years, a man has always been put there to pack because they know it's too heavy for us ladies to be able to lift. Like I said, the medium ones are heavy, but because we can lift, we manage to lift and pack them. But these we can't even lift at all.
The ladies alleged that several other ladies in the plant, including 3 of their group, had suffered miscarriages from heavy lifting.
Yeah, they said that they was having lawsuits against them because pregnant women have been having miscarriages and losing their babies. So they said that they had a big meeting that night. They called all the women up there in the office, all the women from 800 shift and, you know, from second shift period. And they stated that they would no longer, when you're pregnant, you should let them know about it so they won't put you over there to pack these things. Because they said they've been having lawsuits and a lot, and that they have good lawyers too. And so we would no longer be asked to pack these things. They'd have a man over there packing it. Then about, 2 months later, they changed it again, and they stated that, whoever worked over there would pack it.
The ladies felt Unarco was having a slowdown and that this incident had been an excuse to cut them from the staff. But being fired prevented them from even collecting unemployment. I telephoned 3 other employees of Unarco to see if women did heavy lifting on other shifts or if men were brought in to help. All said that some women worked on their shifts and did do heavy lifting. Well, all stories have 2 sides, but this story has good arguments on both sides. Unarco officials did not think it was a good idea to go on camera for an interview at this time because of pending legal action and union arbitration over the matter. However, by telephone, a company spokesman said the women were fired for refusing to do their jobs, which requires lifting. The heavier grocery cart gates only have to be lifted a few times a year, he says. They weigh 30 to 35 pounds. On a daily basis, the women and other employees must lift gates 20 to 25 pounds. The spokesman said the women knew this when they took the jobs. If their foreman was bringing over a man to help them with the heavier gates, he says the company was not aware of it. And he says if the women were pregnant or ill, they must bring a note from a doctor describing their work limitations, something the ladies did not do, he said. Well, the company's stand is, if the ladies were hired and paid the same as the men, then they must do the same work for the same pay. However, this entire issue will go before an arbitration board soon, and perhaps then we'll have a solution for this problem. Now, if you have a problem you'd like us to look into, write In Your Corner, KTVY-TV, Box 14068, Oklahoma City 73113, or give us a call at 478-2291. I'm Brad Edwards, In Your Corner. Stan Holt is 24 years old and confined to a wheelchair. He said his problem was he was afraid he would not be confined to his wheelchair if he didn't get it repaired soon. The seat back had cracked and was getting weaker all the time. He feared he would fall through the back of the seat if it wasn't replaced. Stan says he's on Social Security disability payments, but he says that doesn't allow for many luxuries.
It doesn't allow for a one, not anything.
Stan didn't have the money to fix his wheelchair now, nor the transportation to take the chair in for repairs. I located a replacement for the seat back of his chair, and an anonymous donor gave the $34 needed to buy it. I returned to Stan's home and demonstrated my mechanical ability by installing the seat back. It's in there somewhere.
Mess again.
While Stan explained how he became disabled in a car accident 3 years ago.
We were just coming back from Bakersfield, coming back to the city, and we ran off the road and hit a cactus. A 2,000-pound cactus. Totaled me and totaled out my car. Yeah. And they had to cut me out with a torch because I was asleep in the back seat, and it just crushed the car on my head.
Sir, I can't imagine a cactus
That big, you're right. I couldn't believe it either. Yeah. But they're that big in Arizona, indeed.
How's it feel?
It feels real good.
Well, that's your Christmas gift from In Your Corner.
All right.
So, hope you have a good Christmas.
All right, thank you.
Anytime, anytime. Any small repairs you ever need, you know who can do it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'll just sit over. The Convalescent Center is a nonprofit entity that receives state aid. Parents pay what they can, and the state pays the rest. It's an expensive program because the children here are not only handicapped, they have multiple handicaps as the result of birth defects, illness, or accidents. The average age of the children is 6 years old. There are a few teenagers. Right now, there are 77 children living in the facility, treated by full-time therapists, nurses, and volunteers. The center has its own therapy rooms, recreation programs, and an arts and crafts room. Christmas parties have been provided by the Junior Hospitality League and Tinker Air Force Base. But Carol Gray says they have another need this Christmas.
I think one of the most important needs right now is 5 cribs. We have had a 5-bed expansion, and several of our cribs are in poor condition, and of course we want to upgrade that as we can. So the stainless steel institutional size cribs.
So you have a waiting list here of children, so you do need to get those 5 more cribs.
Yes, we do have at this point 3 that are waiting to come in. So it would be very helpful to get those.
Carol says the Health Planning Commission recently allowed them to add 5 more cribs to the facility, but those cribs cost $1,000 each. It would allow them to take in 5 more children with multiple handicaps in need of therapy, which might make a better Christmas for 5 more Oklahoma families.
We are a specialized intermediate care facility, and we provide 24-hour nursing care, physical therapy, occupational therapy, and speech therapy, and then diversional activities. And of course, for some of the teenagers on field trips and just whatever we can to make their life better.
Okay. When I arrived at H.W. Sprague's home in Tuttle, he said he was just a little embarrassed by all of this fuss, but at the same time, he had saved up $600 from his 3-day-a-week job as a maintenance man to buy a hairpiece, and he wanted satisfaction. And H.W. was not satisfied. Now, he wanted his money back. He saw an ad in the TV guide for New Man Hair of Oklahoma City. H.W. claims the manager, Paul Worley, came to his home in Tuttle and arranged to sell him a hairpiece.
But I was told now, whenever he came out and said if we went fusion, why, he told me it would be $525. And when I went in and pick up the hairpiece and already had it styled and everything, why, he charged me $595.
Fusion is a method of tying the hairpiece in with the customer's own hair. Well, after H.W. was fitted with his new hairpiece, he thought it looked good, at least color-wise. It blended well with his own hair, but that was all he liked about it. H.W. said he never got them to style it the way he wanted, and the first time he went outside and the front of the hairpiece blew up in the wind, he was embarrassed, not to mention what his wife discovered.
In fact, that's the way she first noticed that I was sitting in the chair, and she came up behind, she walked by, you know, in back of me, and she happened to notice that big bald spot back there, and that's actually the first time I knew it too, because I couldn't take it off to see what, you know, what was on there. But
well, H.W. said he wanted to talk with New Man Hair Shop owner Paul Worley about that and the fact that after 5 months, whether the hairpiece was tied on or clipped on, it was still raising welts on his scalp and causing him pain.
And I had 3 appointments with the man, and he wouldn't keep his appointments with me. I tried to call him twice, and he was supposed to call me back. He never did. And so after he got my money, well, that was it. I mean, I haven't been able to talk to Paul since.
I dropped in on Paul Worley at New Man Studios in the city for his side of the problem. He said this was the first complaint he had had.
I'll do anything in the world he wants me to do except write him a check back and hand it to him, because that's not solving his problem. The man wants hair. He obviously does. He wouldn't be going to this problem. He wants his hair to look natural. I do too, because that's what I'm in business for. And I can definitely take care of him because the unit definitely will work. It has completely unlimited versatility, and we are able to take care of him, and I'm able to do that, and I'll do it. But he's never given me a chance. He's going through the back door. He's going through his BB, you know, Better Business. He's going through his attorney, and now y'all. And all he has to do is just call me directly on the phone and say, Paul, I would like to come in. Can I see you at 4 o'clock this afternoon? I'll be here.
Okay.
I told his attorney that.
That's good enough.
You know, that's all. That's it.
I told H.W. Sprague that Worley claimed he had not made appointments, just dropped into the studio when Paul was not there. H.W. replied he had made appointments and made special trips in from Tuttle. H.W. said if Worley had shown up for the appointments or returned his phone calls as requested, it would not have been necessary for him to write the Better Business Bureau, hire a lawyer, and call in your corner. Now he just wanted his money back. Well, I checked with the Better Business Bureau in Oklahoma City. Sprague's complaint was the only one against Worley. However, when Worley had his business in Tulsa, the Better Business Bureau there said there were several complaints about the servicing of the hair pieces, but that they had all been taken care of.
What do you do when you get a man who buys one of these, accepts it?
Alice Jefferson has learned more about cars in the last couple of weeks than I have in a lifetime. For example, Alice knows what it means when a mechanic says, your crankshaft damper has slipped and is rubbing the timing chain cover, causing a loud noise, and that the damper needs to be replaced. Alice learned that from Bob Bible, the mechanic who normally works on her family's cars. But Bob didn't have time to fix the damper, so Alice wrote down what it needed and arranged to have it fixed at a Pitstop tune-up center. She went to pick up the car a few days later.
I took it in and I gave them the exact thing that I needed done to it. And when we picked it up on Friday, I took it in on Wednesday. They didn't get it done when we picked it up. They told us that it needed that part fixed, that it was still noisy, and I told them that's what I had taken it in there for. And they had gone into the timing chain part, said it needed a new timing chain, put that on, put it on improperly, put a wrong seal with it, and which caused a severe oil leak.
Alice said Pitstop told her to bring her car back down, but a regular mechanic, Bob Bible, told her not to drive the car because the oil leaked out, and he fixed it.
And when they put the timing chain in, they put it in 3 notches off, put the wrong seal at the bottom of the timing chain cover and created an oil leak, and then put the same crankshaft damper back on, which had the same problem it had when it went in to start with.
So in other words, what you had her write down to have repaired, they didn't do.
They pulled it off and then put the same problem back on.
Alice had paid Pitstop $173. They work on a cash basis, so I went to see if they would give her her money back. But the manager was out. Well, I went to Pitstop headquarters, but the officials were in conference. However, when the owner of the tune-up centers, Russ Nehard, heard of the matter, he sent us to the center manager, Lloyd Friesen, who said,
anytime we have any problem, we'll be glad to make it right, whatever it takes. We'll make it right.
Okay, in this particular problem, what can you do for Mrs. Jefferson?
Whatever it takes, Brad, to make it right. If she needs her money back, we'll do that. You know, we're in business to fix cars, and we're glad, you know, that you brought this situation to our notification, so we can make this situation right for her.
For example, you may recall the case of Sam Boyle several months ago. Sam called me because he felt his car problem was not being taken care of properly. Sam bought a new Buick but claimed the driver's window leaked, the interior trim was out of line, the trunk lid scraped the frame. In fact, Sam measured and claimed the body parts were off by more than 1/16 of an inch, which he said was over factory specifications. He claimed he had it confirmed by a body man, and even had a local GM assembly line worker check over the car. She claimed the body had poor workmanship and was out of line. In this case, Sam appealed to the General Motors zone office, the regional office, and to Detroit, the normal route for complaints. GM officials offered to take the driver's door apart and re-weld it to make it fit. But Sam said he didn't pay $10,000 for a new car, only to have it taken apart and rebuilt. He wanted a new car. Well, finally, GM officials offered him a new car substitute, but not one with the same equipment Sam had ordered. So he rejected the offer and decided to try for satisfaction through the courts. Now, under the new General Motors third-party arbitration plan announced today, Sam would have another alternative for seeking satisfaction. Robert Panza, the General Motors Director of Consumer Relations, explained how it will work.
What we're saying is, here we have is a new mechanism which we call third-party arbitration. General Motors has entered into a contract with the Council of Better Business Bureau in Washington, D.C., and we have agreed to, we have pre-committed to arbitrate on all disputes that have not been settled. We also have an agreement that they will administer the program for General Motors. And in this program, we will take into consideration any disputes that deal with our new car warranty, the interpretation of our new car warranty, or the administration of it, And we'll also cover any disputes that go beyond the warranty period. So that's our commitment to the program, and we will be, we agree to go to binding arbitration in those cases.
Now, the arbitration process will be operated by the Better Business Bureau, which has already trained 60 volunteers from the community. From those 60, 5 names will be submitted to the customer and the business involved. The one rated highest by the 2 parties becomes the arbitrator. Both parties lay their side of the automobile dispute before the arbitrator. They can even bring witnesses if they choose. Then the arbitrator will study the case, even test the car if desired, and will be furnished technical expertise by the Better Business Bureau if needed. The arbitrator will have 10 days to make a decision, which could require action by the business, payment of money, or it could be a rejection of the customer's complaint, or fault could be found with both parties.